So normally I wouldn't do this, but YCS Pasadena is this upcoming weekend, and unfortunately, I'm not going to be there. I know, I have gotten so many messages, so many comments, people have just been like out of their mind. I'm sorry you guys, I actually cannot make YCS Pasadena. I started a new job, I got a transfer, and I just can't, I'm not able to actually get the days off yet, but I will be returning more so to YCS probably within the new year. It'll be a lot easier for me, but you know, adulting is taking priority right now, so hopefully you guys understand. But with that being said, we're going to talk about what I feel are honestly the best decks going into YCS Pasadena. The last video we did, we talked about like the best side deck cards, and that was something that I know you guys really enjoyed. We covered a lot of cards. You guys were amazing. You contributed amazing, you know, suggestions and stuff, and pretty much everything got covered. And you know, this time we're just going to talk about the decks. Now I know this is going to sound like a broken record because the decks really haven't changed. Like, I can't sit here and tell you guys that there's anything new and amazing. There's like maybe one or two new rogue decks that have popped up that are pretty cool, but outside of that, it's pretty much the same stuff. But I think that you guys still need to know, because the decks that were good last format are still good this format. The decks that were good the last YCS are still good this YCS, but it's also just something that we just always need to, you know, keep up with, even if, you know, when we go into a new event, it's pretty much the same thing. But without further ado, we're going to talk about what I feel are the best decks going to YCS Pasadena. If you guys are new here, consider subscribing, hit the notification bell so you get updates when I upload. But yeah, so none of these are in any particular order. I don't really, like, if people were to ask me what I think the best deck is going into the event, based on representation, people are going to say it's Orcas, or they're going to say it's Sky Striker. But we're going to start with those two, Orcas and Sky Striker. So Orcas, I mean, has been doing wonders. It almost won the last YCS. If it wasn't for, if it wasn't for just like the insane hands the Striker player had, he was extremely skilled as well, knew how to play the deck. And you know, everyone's saying, you know, engage 4 times in a turn is how you win. Yeah, it is. It really is. But Orcas is just a really good deck. You guys have seen it with IP Mastery and all that stuff that's come out. Like, it's just made it to where the deck is still playable. Like, 2 cards still makes combo. It still makes a very strong board. It still makes it to where it's hard for you to play. And, you know, it's extremely successful. You guys saw how at the YCS in Lima, literally all 3 of the players all played Orcas and went undefeated the entire event. The entire event. They didn't drop any games, and that's what's so crazy, is that if that doesn't prove that the deck is one of the best decks of the format, I don't know what else will. It was also piloted by 3 extremely talented players, so I think that those factors are enough to make it easily one of the best decks. We already know it's going to be in heavy representation. There's no denying it. You need to have your Artifact Lancias. You need to have your Super Polys, depending on what deck you play. But yeah, you have to be prepared for Orcas. There's no denying, and there's no way that that deck will have a low representation at all. I think it's definitely going to have one of the highest representations in the room. But again, we've been playing against Orcas for multiple formats. There is no Mermaid. Yes, there's new stuff that they can play, but at the end of the day, Orcas still loses to the same things it lost to before. So just keep that in mind. And next, of course, Sky Striker. I mean, this deck will not die. Literally will not die. And every ban list, every hit that it takes, they're like, the deck is done. The deck is done. And guess what? It then wins the next event. I mean, it just always happens. It just wins the next event, and everyone's just like, well, I guess this hit wasn't enough. I guess this hit wasn't enough. Will the next ban list handle it? Maybe. Will they still play it? Yes. Are they still getting support? Yes. This deck, I think, is turning into Heroes in a sense. And I say that because Heroes are without a doubt one of the most loved decks by Konami, by the player base. And I know the player base is sick and tired of Striker, but they keep getting supported. That doesn't say that the deck is here to stay for a while. I don't know what else is. But Striker, same thing. Same stuff we sided before, you side again, you know, you play against a deck, you know what to do. The deck is either going to blind second or it's going to be built to go first with Floodgates. Like, you guys already know this, but Striker is definitely going to be one of the best decks. Do I think it could win the event? Maybe. I mean, you could base it off its track record that it won YCS London. Can it win YCS Pasadena? Possibly. So just be prepared. It's definitely one of the best decks. It's definitely going to be one of the most represented decks in the room. Again, that and Orcas are definitely going to be the most represented in my opinion. Next we have my baby's Thunder. We're going to put Combo Thunder and Pure Thunder. So Combo Thunder is nice. Combo Thunder is really, really nice. That deck is so crazy. Can rip 2 with Levianeer and Darkness Diabolos. Can build a board with Appaloosa and a bunch of negates where you just can't play through it. It plays through Nibiru. Again, it plays through Nibiru. What more can I say? If a combo deck can play through Nibiru, still rip 2 cards from your hand, and still build a somewhat decent board after you've lost 2 to 3 cards out of your hand, there's really no coming back. It's how the original Danger Thunder played, and now with the new Cypher card and all these things that they put together with the Draco Net deck, it's easily one of the best decks of the format, and you're definitely going to see it. Like, I don't know how high the representation will be. I don't know how many players will commit to playing combo, but the deck is insane, and so far we've seen its success, and we're going to continue to see its success. And my babies, Pure Thunder, I love them to death. Are they as good as the combo deck? It depends on the matchup. Do they have a rough Orcas matchup? Yes. Are they going to be able to combat it, hopefully with the right side deck cards, the right main deck tech choices, and, you know, playing certain cards in the extra deck like Appaloosa and stuff like that for going first? You do have a way to play around them a lot better than we did before. I think it's just developing the deck pretty much with every format. Every event kind of opens our, you know, our eyes to new things we can play, and I think that the deck will still be represented. I don't think it'll have high representation. I think it'll have, I call it moderate representation, but I think the deck is still really good. It's not like super budget, but all the Thunder pieces were reprinted. You guys know this. You know, same thing with Strikers, so having access to that means that more players who couldn't play it before are going to play it now, so definitely keep an eye for my baby's Thunder, and of course the Combo Thunder deck. This is definitely one of the best decks that people will play if they can at the event. It's not the best deck, but it's one of the top best decks in my opinion. And of course, Salamangreat. The deck is still really, really good. It doesn't matter if Gazelle's at 1. It's proven itself multiple times. I know in California and you know, here in the United States, it doesn't have as huge a representation as it does like in Europe and stuff like that, but the deck will still perform, the deck will still be seen. I think the deck is still really good. I think that its grind game is what makes it so strong. Its ability to go, you know, build its simple board, you know, and then do it again and again and again if necessary. It just keeps very good use of its resources, and it's very good at out-resourcing the opponent and taking away resources from the opponent. So I think that's why the deck is so good, and you're definitely still going to see it, because people who are playing Salad before and didn't give up on it, they're still playing it now. The deck can play so many hand traps that it only needs 2 cards to go, and the rest could be hand traps, and you could literally just build a simple board, have negates in your hand, have negates on the board. It's just like, yeah, you can't play. So definitely can see those decks. And last but not least, we have the Rogue category. So the Rogue category can go from anywhere from True Draco, shout out to Slops, every time, you already know. It could be Sub-Terrors, it could be Altercase, it could be any of the trap decks. It could be the new Vanity Stun deck. I know Simo made a video on it, Sam made a video on it. Yeah, that deck is pretty crazy. It's basically Tribute Stun, and Tribute Stun was something that was played years ago, and it's something that we see now. Vanity's Fiend, Vanity's Ruler, Archlord Christia, all these crazy cards. Will the deck have a lot of representation? I don't think so. I don't think enough people are going to commit to playing it at a huge event. I feel that it's more successful at a regional level, more successful at a local level. But if you do play against it, you need to be able to out those cards, because if they put a couple monsters on the board that say you can't special summon or you can't play Yu-Gi-Oh, you got to find a way around that. Cards like Infinite Impermanence are going to be some of your best friends. Cards that just can negate the monster on board is super important, so being able to play around that is very, very strong, because when you can't special summon, it takes away one of the main mechanics in the game, and it's very, very hard to play against that deck. But I do see people playing it. That's one of the new decks that I wanted to actually talk about in this. I definitely would not put it as like the top 3 decks. I would definitely see like a Rogue or deck like that we could see more so in the early rounds, but outside of that, I think it's something that you guys should still be aware of. You know, it exists, and don't be surprised if you play against it in the early rounds, because that's usually when you play the most Rogue decks. And as far as the rest of the Rogue decks go, there's so many. All the trap decks, they still lose to the same things, but they still capitalize on the same things. They don't have to worry as much about hand traps. They just play through everything, and then, you know, you get game 2 and 3, you know, you're going to be siding your back row hate. They're going to have their negates for you. So it's going to be an interesting thing to see if trap decks will have a high representation at this YCS. But there's that, and how could I forget? Pendulums. Shout out to Jeremy, shout out to Triff, shout out to all the Pendulum players, shout out to Paul Cooper, because he's been on an absolute steamroll with that deck. Like, my god, like, he's topped so many regionals and stuff. He almost topped YCS London. He was so close. Yeah, Pendulums, you guys already know, Pendulums are still a very strong deck. The mechanic is extremely strong, and the ability to just, you know, spit out a board and just, you know, play through everything is nuts. The ability to have a built-in negate to Nibiru is nuts in Jackal, so it's pretty crazy. But overall, those are the decks. I know it sounds exactly the same as it does every format, but you know what? Until the decks change, until we get new decks, it's pretty much what it's going to be. Don't mind the noise. I know you guys are probably hearing the noise. Hopefully I was able to edit out some of the noise that's here. But yeah, trying a new recording setup. We're going to just see how it works. If you guys like like the lighting and stuff, let me know. I just want to try a couple things. It might be a little echoey and whatnot, but we're going to work the kinks out as we go. But overall, those are what I feel are the best decks in the format. If you guys are trying to build any of those decks, of course, use my TCG player link. It's down in the description below. Kickback goes to the channel. It helps me out and I really do appreciate it. But best of luck to everyone that's going to YCS Pasadena. I'll be there with you guys in spirit, and like I said, I'll be back at YCS probably within the new year. And yeah, what deck are you guys playing for YCS Pasadena? Are you confident in your deck? And what deck do you feel is going to win YCS Pasadena? You already know that even though we're not going to be at the event, we are going to cover what wins, as we do with every YCS, with why this deck won this set event. And yeah, we'll definitely do more analysis on that in the future. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you for watching.